Eddie Murphy dressed in a fucking elephant suit, like a character from this Wally world, getting punched by a kid in the nuts, running away like a bitch from this old grandma woman. Why do you have all these cameos? They had a cameo in Beverly Hills Cop III with Hugh Hefner, but that's because it took place in the Playboy Mansion where the bad guys were. It made sense. Here it's just like, oh shit, there's George Lucas. What? Why? It's like a Rob Zombie when he fits all his fucking cameos in. It's certain movies. Last Action Hero did that well, in my opinion. I like Last Action Hero. Sue me. I'll do a review of that someday, defending that movie. But this movie is just worthless. It's not funny. That's his biggest sin. It's not funny. And it flails around, and then basically the owner asks Axel Foley what's going on in this park, and then one thing leads to another, and he gets shot. Axel Foley's blamed for it. Then it ends with him getting the gun from Serge, going to the park, and, I don't really complain about bad guys not hitting the good guys. That happens a lot. Look at Commando, the ending. Arnold sits there, no one can hit him, but he kills everybody. But for some reason I buy it, because it's Arnold, I guess. Arnold's impervious to bullets. But this movie, I don't know why, it bugged me in this movie. And usually that stuff doesn't bug me. Like, there are dozens of films I absolutely love that do the same thing. So that's not really fair for me to blame this movie on it. But on one hand, this film really didn't give me any enjoyment for any of the other stuff, except the one scene with the car and one other scene I'll talk about. But really, the security guard guys in this amusement park, they can't shoot for shit. There's one scene where Eddie Murphy, it's like there's this ride, like an earthquake type ride, and these machines, aliens, which look like Cylons, shooting fake lasers, and they're hiding behind them. This guy shoots. Boom. No barriers. Shoots at Eddie Murphy, and it hits like the metal railing underneath Eddie Murphy's feet. Then Eddie Murphy shoots, boom, hits the guy. Bang, bang. I'm like, what the fuck? Or like, one guy shoots at Billy, point blank range, misses, and Judge Reinhold Billy does a roll and shoots him perfectly. And then the next scene right after, Hector Elizondo comes in. This guy is high above in a thing, shoots at him, goes all around Hector Elizondo. He pulls out, one shot, boom, kills the bad guy. I'm like, okay, I can buy that shit in Arnold movies and Stallone movies. At least they had barriers or at least something. This is like, oh, you don't do this shit 3 times in a row, and it's like pretty much like in the same climax, and just really like it just for some reason bugged me in this movie. The one other scene I liked was Annihilator 2 didn't look stupid, but the scene where Eddie Murphy's trying to get to work, I got like a chuckle or two from that, I will admit. But I got like 2 little chuckles out of this movie. And for a lot of people, even those are not even worthy chuckles. They didn't even laugh at those. It's just, I just don't want to leave shit out because I don't want to talk about this movie again. And it's weird because this has a trailer and like a 22-minute featurette. Eddie Murphy, John Landis from back in the day talking. Yeah, weirdly enough, they actually got Judge Reinhold. They got Teresa Randall, who was the girl. They got the guy who played the bad guy. Like one of those, I think like a producer guy on it. I'm looking, I don't recognize Robert Rehme, R-E-H-M-E. I don't recognize any of these producers. And really, they don't even mention that it was a flop. Why it was a flop, how come it flopped, nothing. It was made for like 55 million, and it made like 40. So it was a big flop, and no one mentions it. And I hate that shit. If you don't get interviews, be honest, be like, we know it's a flop. Say, I don't know why it's a flop, or I think it was a flop because of the fucking shit, man. Don't just make a feature where we're kissing everybody's ass. But Beverly Hills Cop 3, even the that's lame. Look, you got Eddie Murphy in front of a cool car. You got Eddie Murphy with the Beverly Hills sign. This is probably my favorites. And here it's just Eddie Murphy holding a gun, nothing behind him. See, even the poster, the cover art is lame. I remember this was, I think it was this, and then there was also one where he's standing and you see like a roller coaster. And he's in for the ride of his life. Lame. And I think that's the main problem. This is just a lame, mediocre, unfunny, lazy sequel. And I'm going to keep rambling on and on, so I guess that maybe I do hate this movie more than I let on. I think I do hate this movie. The more and more I think about it, the more I hate this movie. But I don't know, I mean, I don't have the passion to hate it like Karate Kid Part 3 and stuff, but it's just, it's a disappointing, lame sequel, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's one of those things I could put in as background noise if I'm doing a tribute or if I'm doing something. Maybe I'm bored. Oh, I saw 1 and 2. I haven't seen 3, and I put it on my own. Okay, you know. But it sits there. So, other than the bit where the car gets shot to pieces, falling apart with Eddie Murphy, and when Eddie tries to annihilate 2000 thing, a little bit. I got like a couple chuckles, but what made this film not work? Eddie Murphy's laid back. Laid back as hell. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. The bad guys are bland. It's generic. It has stupid things like, there's a scene where John Saxon, he's in it, but he's forgettable. Stupid things like Eddie Murphy takes the time because they have this counterfeit, and probably like 30 seconds, I don't know what time, he's able to print this fake money of his face saying, "Kiss my ass." That'd be maybe a funny thing, but it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how the hell does he know how to do this? How did he do it in the nick of time? What? I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, and, you know, really you don't have a counterfeit? I don't know, just, some of the shit in here just does not make a lick of sense. Oh yeah, you have that big action scene where he saves the kids on the ride. Some good stunt work of the guy going from one, it's like one of those carousel things, but it's like, you know, holders, like a bunch of them going around. When the guy's going from one to the other, it's like, oh, some good stunt work, but when you see Eddie Murphy, the background, it's like you can tell it's fake. And it's just, John Landis is not a great director in action sequences, so you don't feel that tension. It's like, it sits there, you know what I mean? So action scenes aren't that great, but it didn't have that gritty, realistic tone. You can say Beverly Hills Cop 2 is not realistic, but let me tell you something. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is more realistic than this movie. It doesn't have that goofy shit, you know? The amusement park mascots and the... It's like a straightforward action movie. It's like, a lot of times it wasn't even attempting to be funny, it seemed. It just, and the romance with Teresa Randall went nowhere, and it's just, I'm watching this, I'm just, you're bored, and you're like, what the fuck? I know I said I was going to wrap this up, so let me wrap it up, no bullshit. Other than the one or two little scenes, this film is not entertaining. The action scenes don't work that well. Yeah, they got the wrong director, John Landis. And again, I know, John, you were trying to get comedy from Eddie Murphy, and he wasn't having it for whatever the fuck reason. But he made Vampire Brooklyn, so I guess he wasn't thinking straight back then. Even today, I should say. It's not funny. That's the biggest sin. You drop characters, but take the time so that John Ashton and Ronny Cox can actually be in the fucking movie. And you should have waited till Don Simpson, I'm not sure if he was alive by then, I think he was, Don Simpson, and Jerry Bruckheimer, they should have produced the movie. You should have waited till they produced it, because they had that kinetic action and that edgy humor. Look at Bad Boys. if you don't believe me. See, the edge of Bad Boys, of the humor, which was kind of like Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, should have been in this movie. But it's not funny. The new characters he put in don't fit. Hector Lozano doesn't fit. Judge Reinhold is wasted. He has nothing to do. And, you know, in the previous films, just like Rosewood and Taggart was essential as Axel Foley. They helped Eddie on his journey. Here it's like, one's gone, the other has nothing to do. Has a stupid job title. The villains are lame, they're boring. The action scenes don't do much. The comedy is not there at all. The cameos were distracting.